everybody. As some of you know, if you're following me, I adopted a new cat. I'm trying to get him over here, but he's not listening to me. Oreo. Oreo. Kitty, kitty. I got him. So, as you know, sadly, Spook had passed, and I gave myself like a month. Well, then my friend Kay had a cat that had kitties. So this is him right here. His name is Oreo, and he's 3 months old right now. See how small he is? Hi, Oreo. Hi. Hi, baby. How are you? He is so tiny. He was so much smaller than I thought, but he's already gotten a little bit big, so he is a good boy. He really is. But when when Oreo and Batman first met, Batman did like hiss at him a couple of times, and there's a couple of times where Batman was like holding him down, but I realized it was just play. But he's doing really good. He's not walking around meowing anymore, so. Hi, Batman. Oreo. Oreo. Hi. He's like, put me down. Let me play. Let me play. Okay. So, this week I have been pet sitting for a friend. So, I've been coming like back and forth, and back and forth. From my apartment to the house. And I did a live reading last night. Batman, be nice. Batman, be nice. And it did not really turn out that well because I had 2 dogs on my lap. So I thought about maybe redoing it, but then I was like, I don't want to redo it. I'm so close to like finishing Awakened Evil. And I'm really excited to start Wicked Curse. So, okay, we are going to jump in because I have to be done by 5. Okay. So this is chapter 50. And this will be from Keegan's point of view. And there's only 5 pages. Last night there was like 12. And thankfully I got through it. Okay. Okay. Chapter 50. Keegan and Terrence walked down the sidewalk. I'm so glad that Tyler guy knows about Inga and Olivia's past. And the fact that he finally told her he was a telepathic, Terrence said. Whatever that is. Keegan stopped just as Terrence did. It's a telepathic, Terrence. He rolled his eyes. What? Tyler said what a telepathic was, if you were listening. Keegan shook his head and walked across the street to his house. He shook his head and walked across the street to his house. He stopped in the front yard and turned around. Terrence stood in the middle of the street staring at him. Keegan knew he wasn't going back in that house. Not after the witch attacked Madison. I don't want to go in, Keeg. That's fine. Stay out here then. Why are you going back in? He called back. Because I can. Keegan walked right through the door and stood there. Terrence came through the door and landed on both feet with his hands as if to stay balanced. What are you doing? Making sure the witch or the demons aren't here. Keegan shook his head, then ran up the staircase and walked into his bedroom, then stopped in the middle of the room. Everything was still gone. Why did I have to find that house? Why didn't I just turn back around and leave? I could have just went to a park and got drunk. Maybe the house found me. Maybe it wanted me to go there because it was lonely. If that doesn't sound lame enough, I don't know what does. What are we doing here? Terrence asked, interrupting his thoughts once again. I don't know. He looked down at his transparent hand and arm. When people die tragically, they go back to the spot where they took their last breath. Why? Because they want to know what happened to them. That's why you're here, but you know what happened to you already. Yeah, I know. Then why are you here? Whoops. Then why are you here? Can you please just stop asking so many questions and stand still and not speak? He stared at him. Please? Terrence sat down on the floor across from him and leaned back against the wall. What do we do now? Keegan shrugged. I don't know. Olivia knows what she needs to do now. I guess we can wait. Or go to the light and call it a day. I'm not going to the light until this whole thing is over with. FYI, if I go to the light and something bad happened to Olivia, I would feel horrible. You don't even know her. So what, Terrence? We still have to help her. It's not finished yet. But what? What about the whole light deal thing? What light deal thing? Going to the light? You said yourself when someone dies, they go to the light. Oh my God, Terrence, have you been listening? That's only if they're ready and make their farewells. A spirit will stay behind if they're attached to a person or an object they feel they have to protect. They won't go to the light until they are finished. So in that case, we are staying behind because we are protecting Olivia and everybody else from Inga. And when we are done, we go to the light. Yes, you have learned something. I'm so shocked, Keegan joked. As long as we earthbound, we can do anything. We are ghosts. We can affect the environment. What's that mean? We can turn the lights on and make things move. We can make things appear and disappear. We can even walk through people. You know this because it's been done before. Terrence paused and then smiled. What about driving? Keegan. Hey, Batman. Oh. Keegan stared at him and thought back to all the movies he had saw and all the articles he read on the computer. He nodded. Yeah. Good thing you know all this. Well, I used to read about it all the time before I died. Terrence sighed, then stood up. Sitting here is boring. We can't do anything because we're dead. He walked back and forth. I can't eat. I can't watch TV. I can't play video games. Keegan stood and Terrence walked right through him. Keegan turned around and stared at him. Terrence chuckled. Sorry, man. If you went to the light like you should have in the first place, you wouldn't be in this mess right now. You would be up in heaven with Grandpa Kate and Grandpa Dave. It's your own fault you're still here. You should have listened to me from the get-go. I tried to warn you, but like always, you don't listen. A noise from the hallway caught both their attention. Keegan stood there wondering who it could be. Maybe it was Mom or Madison. But they weren't home yet, as far as he knew. Keegan and Terrence stared at each other with a questionable look on their faces. What was that? Terrence asked, then looked at the door, then back at Keegan. Is your mom or Madison here? Keegan shook his head. I don't think so. We walked across his room through Terrence and stopped by the door. Before stepping through, Terrence grabbed his shoulder, and this time it worked. Let me, please. You've been doing all the fun stuff. I've been doing nothing. Terrence, no. Please just let me. Keegan knew if he didn't let him, he'd keep asking and wouldn't shut up. Fine. Just be careful, please. Terrence smiled and walked through the door as Keegan stood there and waited. For a moment it was quiet, until Terrence screamed. Before Keegan made a run for it to see what was going on, Terrence flew backwards through the door and landed on the floor. Keegan, help me, help me. Whoa. Okay. Keegan grabbed his hands and held on. Something gripped him by the feet, and he was lifted up off the floor and pulled through the door, but Keegan stopped. Now Terrence was halfway in the doorframe. It's a tug-of-war, Terrence whined. Help me. Shut up, Terrence. Don't let it take me. I want to go to the light. Keegan felt his energy drain and knew... Oh, there it is. Sorry. Okay. Okay, Keegan felt his energy drain and knew he couldn't hold on anymore. Their hands slipped and Keegan fell backwards on the floor, losing his balance, as Terrence screamed like a girl, calling out for him. Keegan. Keegan couldn't move and just laid there. The hall grew quiet as he stared at the door. Terrence, are you there? Finally, he got up, ran out into the hallway, and came to a stop. A demon stood there with thick, gloomy mist surrounding it. There stood the demon with a slash imprinted in his flesh, from its temple down to its right lower lip. Terrence was nowhere to be found. He probably fought his way from the demon and took off running from the house. Keegan jumped over the railing of the staircase, but instead he tumbled down the steps and landed on the floor by the last step. He rolled over onto his feet and hands. He took off out of the house, ran down the street, and hid behind a woodshed. He stood there with his back pressed to the wall of the shed and thought about what to do next. He turned and looked back at the house. The demon had Terrence by the neck as he kicked and swung both arms at the demon, like a victim trying to escape from a bully. He pulled up a fight until another demon appeared. A portal materialized a few feet from them. Terrence screamed and pushed past one of the demons. It placed a hand on his face and pushed him through the portal. Terrence screamed, "No, let me go to the light." He hit at the demon's face. "Grandpa, Grandma, I'm sorry." Keegan ran across the street and hid behind a bush. The demon with the slash across his face took its head as if it was frustrated with him, shook its head. Who wouldn't be? Terrence is always frustrating to be around. Keegan ran across the yard and jumped through the portal. He landed on his feet and hid behind a tree big enough to hide his whole body. He stood still as it grew quiet. He was back in the woods again. A slight breeze blew the brown leaves across the ground. The sky was a clear blue. He slowly turned and peeked past the tree. The two demons and Terrence weren't anywhere to be seen. If they came back here, then they must be going back to the house. He searched the area for any hidden signs of the demons, then ran in the direction of where the house was. Leaves shuffled past his feet. And he pushed away the hanging branches. It was nice to not get whacked in the face or least stick to his feet or trip over roots. Ahead was the house. He slowly, He slowed down and stopped by a couple trees, then trekked his way to the house by a window that was broken and stayed quiet. He turned around and looked in the window. A portal appeared and Terrence was pushed through. He fell to his knees and held both hands to his chest as he kept his head down, shaking. The portal disappeared as the demon stood close by. Inga appeared in front of Terrence. She grabbed him by the hair and tipped his head back so he would look up at her. Terrence yelled in pain and squeezed his eyes shut. She gripped his jaw to quiet him. Quiet, child. Do not speak. Don't even whimper under your breath. She let go of him and walked into the potion room. Bring him, Peter. My God, they have human names now? No, please, Terrence begged. Wait. Peter grabbed hold of his neck and pulled him into the room. He pushed Terrence forward. He fell to the floor on his hands and knees. Just let me go to the light, and you'll never have to see me again, I promise. Silence, child. You're beginning to get on my last nerve. Where's the other one? Terrence hesitated. Back at the house? Joseph, go get him and bring him here. Keegan ducked down and knew he had to hide. But what if Madison and Mom were back home? They might get hurt. He ran around the corner of the cabin and slammed right into Joseph. He gripped his neck and grinned. There ye are, boy. I knew ye were here. I could feel your energy the minute you got here. He gripped the back of his neck and forced him to walk. They made it around the house to the potion room. Master! They both disappeared through the wall, then stopped once they were inside. He's been hiding outside this whole time. Joseph shoved him forward to the floor, right beside Terrence. Keegan glanced at Terrence. You idiot. When I say go to the light, I mean it. Inga turned around with clenched fist. I knew you would follow me, and I want to thank you for lighting my candle to bring me back. That's why I made it. Kitty. That's why I made it. But things are going as planned because of you two. Do you have any idea what problems you have caused me? Her eyes grew bright. Terrence mumbled a prayer the whole time. Stop praying, she snapped, causing Terrence to fall backwards on his bottom. There is no God, no heaven, only the evil that lingers under the ground. Peter, Joseph, take them to the attic. Peter grabbed Keegan by the arm, and Joseph grabbed Terrence by the hair. Both of Inga's eyes glowed. I'll deal with you two later. Keegan and Terrence were forced to walk up the stairs to the attic, and then they were shoved through the wall. Once Keegan and Terrence fell to the floor, a black, thick mist with little red crystals appeared around the room. It looked like red glitter. What's that? Terrence asked. I don't know. I've never seen anything like it before. Terrence crawled over to it and reached his hand out. Keegan smacked him, catching Terrence's attention. Don't touch it. Why not? Keegan stood up and walked towards it. He knew something wasn't right about this mist, but he needed to know what it was capable of. He slowly lifted his hand as he stared at the little tiny red sparkles. "What are you doing?" "Shut up." The tip of his finger touched the black mist. Within seconds, a shock spread out through him, knocking him backwards across the wooden floor, past Terrence. It drained all the energy from him. Terrence screamed and crawled to his side. Keegan, are you okay?" He tried to cope with what just happened and lifted his head. "Oreo." Oh, he is so cute. Okay. He lifted his head, but he couldn't. Okay, he tried to cope with what just happened and lifted his head, but he couldn't move. "What's wrong with me?" he mumbled. "Why did you touch it? You told me not to." "Because I didn't want anything to happen to you. If it did cause harm, we needed to know. I thought something bad would happen." "Well, you thought right. What do you think it is?" Kinga sighed. "It must be a wall to keep us in. We can't touch it or we will lose our energy." "I'm so damn cold." "What's that mean?" "I'm drained of energy, and we have no energy. We can't move that fast. We're weak." "That's messed up, man." Terrence couldn't sit up and laid down on his back. "Who does this woman think she is?" Keegan rolled on his back, a witch from Salem, Massachusetts. His body felt like it was asleep. He slowly bent his fingers only an inch. The Salem witch trials. "We're trapped. We can't leave." Keegan had no idea what was going to happen to them. There had to be a way out. Who would ever think something could be worse than death? But here they were. I think that's it. Yay, that's it. Now that Keegan and Terrence are trapped, now they can't go anywhere and they can't do anything. And they need to figure out a way to get out of there. So when Inga gets them upstairs, there's like this black mist that's consuming like the walls inside the room. And of course, like, Terrence doesn't really listen that well. He can be annoying, but he does not listen. So I'm just thinking, I need to put them in a room for right now. It's not that I wasn't having any fun writing their characters. I just wanted to focus on the other characters. So I was like, okay, I'll just go ahead and put them up here in the attic. That's where Eleanor and Margaret were when they got trapped. And I was like, well, I can put them up there because that's where Inga puts children when she doesn't, if they're like causing trouble or whatever. Right, Oreo? Oreo? Okay, sorry. I'm getting distracted. So I was working on this chapter and I knew it was coming like to an end because I'm on chapter 50 now. I don't know if I'm going to be reading a chapter this Friday because I don't know when I will be going home. I might have to do it in the morning. I'm not sure. I have 51. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I have 55 chapters. Yeah, I got 5 chapters left. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And so I was working on this chapter and I knew I wanted to give Keegan and Terrence a break because when you're working on a book, you have to treat these characters as if they're like live human beings like you and me. What? Hi. Hi. Come here. Come here. Hi. Okay, he won't come to me. So when you're working on characters, you have to treat them as if they're live humans because you need to make them as real as possible. So I'm pretty sure they're probably tired by this point. And I think the next 5 chapters, I don't think there'll be any more point of views from Keegan's point of view, because the next chapter is from Olivia's point of view. And then we have Olivia again, and then Madison, and then Olivia, and then Olivia again. So it's actually Olivia and Madison. I'm really, really excited to start working. I have a feeling this month is going to go by fast, and we are going to be starting Wicked Curse for the new year. And after I'm done reading Awakened Evil, I think I have, I did bring my book. I did. Let me look here. Okay, December. Okay, today's Wednesday the 8th. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5 days for full chapters. And then I have a short story in the back of Awakened Evil. And it's a short story. I should have moved these two over only because actually, I may not have a writer's meeting that night. Maybe not, because it's Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day. So Gina's short story is the December 22nd and 23rd. So hopefully I can get those read. And then I thought about just taking the last week off from December, because the 24th to the 31st is Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and then Happy New Year. I was going to start the year off with Wicked Curse, so I have nothing down here at all. So I thought about just giving myself a week from doing lives. So, yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this chapter. I had a lot of fun writing this chapter because Terrence's character, he is just like so funny because he's annoying and he can be an idiot sometimes and he's stubborn. And I do, in a way, feel bad that Keegan has to deal with him. But, you know, Keegan did tell him to go to the light and he didn't listen. So, that's his fault. But, yes, we're down to 5 chapters now. And I'm really excited to get to Wicked Curse because Wicked Curse actually has a lot more magic in it and fantasy. So I'm really excited to start with that. So anyways, I might be reading chapter, let me look. I don't know if I'm going to read a chapter this Friday. Like I said, I might have to do it in the morning, but I don't know because I don't know when my friends are, my 2 friends that are on vacation. I don't know when they're coming back. I think Friday. I don't know. But anyways, if they are back on Friday, then I could probably do this chapter 51. Do chapter 51 after 5 when I get home. I'm starting to go to Anytime Fitness now, and I like to burn like at least 100 calories every time I go in, and I do, because I do the treadmill first and then I go do other little exercises, and they are painful, but you know, they say if it hurts, it's working, I guess. But anyways, so Friday, I have no clue. I may have to do it like first thing in the morning, or if they're coming home sometime Friday, then I can do it like in the late evening. So I will talk to you guys next time, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. God bless.